Hello. Good evening. Welcome to this evening's 1013 stream. My name is Anthony. I am from Atlanta, Georgia, in the USA. Currently, I live in Milan, and I'm working at the Milano school, Milano My English School, number 3, Montenero. So welcome. If you're just joining, take a look at the bottom of the screen. Join us in the comment section. Introduce yourself. Let me know. Where are you from? What's your name? And what's your job? And what you're doing these days? Anything you'd like to know or like to tell us, let me know. Anyway, tonight we have an interesting focus. So I'll let you guys, whoever's here, would like to, when you want, when you have time, write something in the comment, let me know who you are. And know that there is, of course, a delay, as you probably know. You've probably seen many of these streams. Also, hello to you guys who are watching the recorded broadcast. Thank you very much for watching. Well, who knows? Hopefully we'll see someone in here. If not, we will get started anyway. We know it's very important for those people who want to watch this afterward. They can. Well, we can get started and talk about this focus called Lead the Way. Of course, lead is a verb. It means to be the first person in a group and to give the directions. Like for me, I can lead a group of people to a certain area. I can lead a group of people, being the first one, and everyone else in the group follows me. I am the leader. I will lead the way. This, of course, you can use it as an imperative for someone else. If you don't know where to go, you can ask someone, please, lead the way. So for this focus, I'll lead the way, starting now. We're talking about compound adjectives. Those are very interesting, and there are a lot of them in English. They can be quite difficult to understand the meaning at first. Then we'll do some expressions, so idioms related to leadership, right? Then we'll have a discussion on what makes a good leader. So how about this guy in the picture? Does he look like a good leader? No, he looks like an actor. Who is a leader? Leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality, said Warren Bennis. How about you guys? If there's anyone here who can see this, or in the watching the recorded broadcast, let me know. Or think to yourself, do you agree with this statement? That leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. I'm not sure if that's necessarily leadership. It's an important aspect. You definitely want to translate visions, your ideas into reality, but I don't know if that's what makes a leader. But it's pretty good. Okay, it says brainstorm a list of different types of leaders. Example, prime minister, a football coach. Okay, well, of course, you have a teacher, you have a mayor, you have a boss, a project manager, a director, a film director. Who was your favorite director? I can think of a lot of really good directors. For example, Stanley Kubrick. Then there's Christopher Nolan, amazing director as well. So these are all, of course, different types of leaders. And in the classroom, yeah, you can see the teacher is for sure a leader. Now, in a band, when people are playing music, usually classical music, they have a conductor, right? Who uses the stick to direct the music, and he keeps the time. He leads the orchestra and helps them. We call it a conductor. So he kind of keeps the structure. Tiziana, oh, hi, I'm Tiziana from Venice. Ah, nice to see you, Tiziana. Nice to meet you here. Welcome. Today we're talking about leadership. I'll ask you a couple questions. You can feel free to use the chat to answer any of these questions. We're thinking about brainstorming a list of types of leaders. Football coaches. Tiziana, a real leader is different from the boss. That's true. Yeah, you don't have to be a boss to be a leader. You can be an equal, and you can kind of take the lead if you're someone who takes the initiative, right? Another question, who is the most influential leader you know of? And why? Think of achievements, personality, etc. How would you describe a good leader versus a bad leader? Okay, so what qualities must a leader have to his personality? So I talked about classical music for the conductor, but of course there's also regular like music of today, rock music, pop music, but generally the drummer is actually the leader because they need to follow the drummer to follow the rhythm and keep the structure of the song. So all kinds of different leaders are clearly seen in different facets of life. The most influential leader I know of, I know a leader in my job. He's a doctor. Okay, there you go. Very nice. I know the director of studies at my school where I work is a very good leader. Yeah. To me, a good leader has to be very determined, very organized, and very sure of himself or herself. Very sure of themselves. And very confident. Confident as well. You don't want a leader who's kind of wishy-washy, who's kind of lazy. No, that can't be a good leader. All right, Tiziana says ESO, Luther King, and Pope. I don't know ESO Luther. I don't know who that is. King and Pope, I know, yeah. Okay, King. Sure. At the moment, some leaders are not leading like they should at the moment. Who knows? Yeah, but definitely very. Martin Luther King. Yes. Okay, I got you. I understand. Yeah, perfect. Nice. Martin Luther King, definitely a big leader in a big movement for human rights. Yeah, of course. So if you have any other answers to those questions, I'll allow you. But for now, I'll change. We'll go to the next slide. Now we're going to talk about some of these adjectives. These are compound adjectives, meaning they are composed of two different words, usually written with a hyphen. We call this dash, this little line here, a hyphen in the middle. So we're going to think about these. And I'll allow you, if you're watching in the comment section, please write what do you think is the opposite of each of these words. So we have forward thinking. And in this list on the right, there is an opposite word. So match it together. Forward thinking, highly respected, strong-willed, open-minded, level-headed, thick-skinned, down to earth. So what makes a leader? These are all great adjectives for leaders. On the left, of course, is what you want a leader to be. On the right, you don't want a leader to be that. So let me know if you have a guess of which is the opposite. Maybe you know some of these. Maybe some of them are new. Okay, Tiziana, nice. One number one, regressive. Awesome. Yeah. Perfect. Then highly respected. Oh, she said open-minded, narrow-minded. Yes. Perfect. Very good. Thick-skinned, sensitive. Yeah. I can think of which of these describe me. I don't know. I feel like I am thick-skinned. I think so. I'm not so sensitive. Two is disregarded. Okay, yeah. Highly respected and disregarded. Perfect. And then try, if you know the meaning of these words, we're going to talk about the meaning of these adjectives as well. If you know them, let me know. How would you describe it? So we'll talk about meanings, and then we'll use them in sentences. So it's good for you to practice using it in a sentence. Strong-willed and foolish? Not exactly. Not exactly foolish. Strong-willed we will match with a different one, actually. We're going to call that weak. Okay? So if you're a very weak person, you don't have much of the desire or the will to do something. Strong-willed means that you are very determined. So it would be foolish to not be strong-willed. It is similar to the opposite, but in this case, we're going to say it's weak. I think you said open-minded, narrow-minded, level-headed, idealistic. Level-headed. You said level-headstrong. Level-headstrong-willed, idealistic. Okay. So level-headed is going to match with foolish, thick-skinned, going to be sensitive, down-to-earth is going to be idealistic. All right, now we'll talk about the meanings of these words. Right. So thinking about regressive, a regressive attitude, personality is one that does not move forward, right? So regressive means moving backward instead of forward, and not being progressive. So if we want to be progressive, progressive is the opposite of regressive. So forward thinking means that you are always thinking about the future, always thinking about how to move ahead. So that would be a forward-thinking person. Says he doesn't want changes. Okay. Let's see. A narrow-minded person will probably not want change. Yeah. Yeah. Regressive person would definitely not want change. Yeah. Too afraid to act and change. Correct. He doesn't want changes. Exactly. So here, forward thinking. Always thinking of how to progress and move ahead. Always thinking maybe of how to improve something. So maybe a regressive person, like you said, would say, everything is okay the way it is now. I don't think we need to make changes and improve things. Just leave everything the way it is now. And it's okay. But without forward-thinking people, advancements are never made. New inventions are never made. New discoveries cannot be made without forward-thinking people. So he wants to move from comfort zone. Okay, yeah, that's actually a good way to think about it. A forward-thinking person definitely is not afraid to leave the comfort zone, not afraid to take a risk, not afraid to experiment, try new things. Of course. So would you describe yourself, Tiziana, maybe as a forward-thinking person? It depends for me, personally. Sometimes I think ahead about certain things, but with most aspects of life, for the most part, I keep everything the same because I don't see the need for always trying to improve things. I think so. Yeah, good. Nice. So, highly respected. Highly respected is somebody that, of course, many people respect, many people think is important. To you, in your opinion, which people at the moment in the world are highly respected? One person I can think of is this guy. Neil deGrasse Tyson, as a scientist, is somebody who is highly respected. Many people believe his theories about things in space, about his explanations for physics. I don't know. I don't know. Well, yeah, I can't think of too many people who are highly respected at the moment. I mean, musicians that are famous, because some people can be famous but not necessarily highly respected. So it depends. Some people who were highly respected are now disregarded. Yeah. So disregarded is kind of like to be forgotten about, and just thought of as not either forgotten or thought of as not important. Yeah. So any. So strong-willed. Strong-willed being the opposite of a weak person. Is also someone who is determined. They have a strong will. They know what they want. They made a decision, and they are determined to do that decision, to keep the decision. That's what we'd say about a strong-willed person. And strong-willed persons are not easily changed. Titiana says, I know a lot of famous persons, or people, famous people, but I have difficulty in finding a highly respected one. True. It is difficult to find a highly respected one. Yeah, because it's not necessarily the same. Yeah. So it's not easy to change a strong-willed person's mind. So if somebody's weak, kind of just like has a very weak will, not very determined, it's easy for different people to change their mind and to make them think this or okay, make them change their decision. But instead, if you're strong-willed, it's not easy to change your mind. Other people can't change your mind. Okay, so you agree, Tiziana. Nice. I'm like that. Okay. So it's difficult to change your mind. We could call that stubborn as well. Stubborn, I can't. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, for me, I don't know. It depends. Sometimes I can be stubborn, sometimes not. Nice. When I make a decision, nobody can change me. Wow. Okay. That is very, very strong-willed. Good job. Yeah. Nice. So, open-minded. This is one that I really like, actually. I am very open-minded. I like to accept and to hear about and to learn about different ways of thinking, different cultures. I'm very open-minded when it comes to food. With food, I will try anything. I will eat anything. With travel, I will go anywhere. I like to keep open-minded in those aspects, as far as food and travel. So that's how I am. I don't know if you're like that as well, or if you're more narrow-minded. When it comes to movies and TV shows, I am more narrow-minded. I'm very picky. I don't like just any movie. I like very particular movies. I hope to be, but sometimes it's difficult, especially with my daughters. Oh. Okay, is that to be open-minded? Yeah, I can see that. I don't have any daughters, so I don't know what that's like. Probably difficult. I'm sure. Nice. So we have open-minded. I definitely prefer that in general. The next one we have is level-headed. Now we have a few different ways that I would describe this. A level-headed person. This is for level-headed. He is smart. He or she, of course, is a smart person and thinks clearly and stays cool under pressure. So even when you have a deadline or when you have a big problem, you remain calm and you keep your senses and you stay cool under pressure and think clearly. That means you're level-headed. Tiziana, there is a big difference between different generations. Yeah. I agree with that. Even for me, I'm not very old, but I see differences between the generation younger than me. Also, the generation older than me, I see, of course, those differences. Nice. So here we have, of course, a level-headed person. It's difficult to be level-headed because when things are difficult or we have a problem, some people tend to overreact and to go crazy. But for me personally, I prefer to just stay calm. So level means flat, basically. Like you can be like this this shape is level. Whereas if you're not level, you're more like this. Your thoughts and your decisions are kind of up and down, like a wave or like a flat, like a table. So level-headed is like that. I prefer to remain calm because if you're not level-headed and you go crazy, it's not going to solve the problem by getting angry. Of course, by changing your voice. Things like the yelling, Yes, it's difficult sometimes to stay calm. Yeah, I agree with that. It's very difficult, yeah. But the idea is to stay level-headed, think clearly, to be smart, and not to be foolish. Because a foolish person would do or say stupid things. Yeah, we don't want to be that, of course. That's the idea, at least. Sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes it doesn't work. Okay. Thick-skinned. A thick-skinned person would be not easily offended. Okay. Somebody who can forgive. Generally, I count until 10 before speaking. Interesting idea. That can really help, actually. Because, yeah, it happens a lot where people say something that they don't actually mean. Something they don't intend to say, something they don't mean. It happens a lot. So counting to 10 helps you to get your breath. Remain calm, yeah. Cool. Nice idea. I never thought about that. It's good though. So, of course, you don't want to be easily offended. And if somebody says something bad to you, that you get angry and, you get sad or depressed or something, I don't know. It can happen to anyone, but trying to be thick-skinned means that we won't be so sensitive to what people say. So not being sensitive. The next one, of course, is down to earth. It is also difficult. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Also, so the adjectives we have on the left are the ones we want for a leader, but they are the most difficult. The ones on the right, not a good leader, but the easiest ones. Definitely easier. Now, this one is not so easy either, to be down to earth. A down to earth person is practical. I try, but sometimes people are really, really bad. I know. To deal with others, yeah. Disagreements arise, and it's gonna happen. So, of course, a down-to-earth person is going to be practical and realistic. Not having their head in the clouds, not being idealistic, but being realistic. So an idealistic person is usually overly optimistic, with too much optimism as an idealistic person. Somebody with big dreams that are probably impossible. He's unpractical. Me too. Sometimes I'm practical, but I do like to dream big. And I like to dream big and think of amazing things that could be in the future. So, but sometimes we do have to come back down to earth and not be living in the clouds. Awesome. So, lead a discussion. Is there such a thing as a natural born leader, or can leadership skills be acquired or learned? Tiziana says, I'd like to be idealistic because sometimes it could be better. It could be, I guess. There could be a contradiction there. It depends. If you're forward-thinking person, you want to think ahead and think in the future, think of new things, but at the same time, you want to be down to earth, think of realistic things. You don't want to have any fantasies, not too many fantasies. But it could be better to have a lot of different dreams. Oh, sorry. Okay. So you can, of course, let me know your opinions down here on any of these questions. Is there such a thing as a natural born leader? Or can leadership skills be acquired or learned? They can be acquired and learned, but there are natural born leaders. I believe they do exist. People that can just have this ability. I am not a natural born leader. When I started teaching English, I had to learn a lot about leading a classroom or a group of people. Because I don't want to be the boss, but I do want to help them and help the students, of course, like you guys, help you along. But I did have to learn. He said, I think it's a natural skill. It exists as a natural skill. And for me, I can learn it, but I don't think I will ever be as good as somebody who has a natural skill. You can learn it up to a certain level. And I'm still learning it. I'm still learning leadership, personally. Okay. 2, think of a leader who is or was not highly respected, but is strong-willed and thick-skinned. Can positive leadership qualities overcome a lack of respect? Can positive leadership qualities overcome a lack of respect? No. No. You need respect. You definitely need respect. Not too much respect, though. You still need to get some criticism. There you go. Yeah. Interesting questions. So, no, I don't think so. No, not for the second part of the question. No. But I can't think of any leaders who is not highly respected but strong-willed. Definitely. Okay, Donald Trump. He is strong-willed and sometimes thick-skinned, but is very under-respected by some people. Respect is necessary to be a good leader. I agree. I agree. Respect is essential. 3, do you think strong leaders exhibit more high-spirited and energetic qualities, or are more serious and level-headed? Not so much high-spirited, but energetic. You do need to be energetic and convey like an energy to motivate people. That is essential. You need to be serious and level-headed, yeah, but energetic is also important. Give an example of a leader who is or was known for his or her thought-provoking speeches and forward-thinking ideas. Well, we talked about Martin Luther King, of course. Tiziana says, if you want to be respected, you have to respect. Yes, respect goes in both directions, of course, both ways. Yeah, I agree with that. All right. Some more leadership idioms. Decide if the idioms have a positive, neutral, or negative connotation. So a connotation is the idea that comes from the word. So to be ahead of one's time. Here's an example of how I would use that phrase. Talking about the original series of this show, which is what Star Trek, the show from 1966. Star Trek from 1966 was ahead of its time. There were many devices, objects in that TV series that didn't exist back then. They had handheld communicators like phones, like cell phones that they used in Star Trek in the 60s, long before these things were invented. And of course, yes, it's the positive connotation. Nice. But this next one, cut someone some slack. What does that mean? I have an example that maybe can help you out with this. That's what it means. You've got to cut me some slack. It wasn't my fault. This one has a neutral connotation. It can be good in some situations, or it could be bad in certain situations. So, if there's a problem at your job, at work, or in the home, and somebody wants to give you a punishment for doing something wrong, then you've got to cut me some slack. So slack is to make the punishment less, to make the punishment weaker, to take the blame away from you. So if you have to pay money to someone for a fine, but they say, okay, you owe me 100 euro, but I will cut you some slack. You can pay me 75 euro. So that's what it means in this. So the actual meaning of slack is, imagine if you have a rope. This rope has no slack. It's very tight, very rigid, very like severe, a severe person too, straight. But if it's like this, it's loose and relaxed. That means this cord has slack. This part here is slack. It's loose. So slack is the opposite of tight for like a cord or a rope. That's what it means to be slack. So releasing the severity or the strength of a punishment. So hopefully that's all clear. Yes, it's an interesting expression. Laying down the law. I think, yeah, Tiziana, you said you have children. So sometimes in the house you have to lay down the law. An angry parent, for example. Angry father, angry mother. This house is a mess. The house is a disaster. It's time to lay down the law. So to become the enforcer. So to become more strict. And it is neutral because it can be used in a negative way or a positive way. For example, if things are chaotic, if there's chaos, then we need to lay down the law. We need to become severe, become strict to fix the problem. So sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes it's positive to help fix a situation. Sometimes it can be negative. So we put neutral. It's in the middle. To put one's foot down. This one is neutral as well. Can be positive, can be negative. Depends. Sorry, I wanted to write in. Oh yeah, okay, no problem, yeah. I understand. Neutral, good. Yeah. What would you write for blind leading the blind and to light a fire under someone? So negative or neutral? In the meantime, I'll give you an example of how I would use the phrase, put your foot down. So someone who puts their foot down would be a strong-willed person. Also neutral. Okay. I'm not sure which one of that's for, but yeah, put one's foot down as neutral. So don't let people take advantage of you. Put your foot down and say no. So saying, in effect, you want someone to be strong-willed. Please have a strong will. Put your foot down and be strong in your decision. Can you, Tiziana, think of a time when you had to put your foot down? Probably with your children. It happens a lot. Parents always have to lay down the law and put their foot down. And sometimes if your children make a mistake, you don't have to punish them or maybe be severe sometimes. Sometimes you can cut them some slack. It depends. So the blind leading the blind, that's a problem. It's definitely a negative problem. A blind person leading a blind person. With my daughter, yeah. Mm-hmm. Also with colleagues sometimes, yeah. Mm-hmm. If they continue to try to do something wrong, you put your foot down and say, no, it must be this way. You give your opinion in a very firm, strong way. Put your foot down. A blind person leading a blind person. And in a positive sense, we can light a fire under someone. That means to give somebody motivation. Oh, he's not motivated. Okay. Also with colors, and yeah, comments are not working for some reason. So you can say someone is not motivated at all. For instance, if a friend doesn't take a decision, yeah. If a friend doesn't make a decision, yeah. Then if they need some motivation, maybe they don't feel like they have the desire to do something, you can give an incentive, maybe. Maybe if you say to your children, I will give you a cake, or I will bring you to the park or do something, offer a prize for motivation to do something. Maybe that will light the fire under them to make them have the desire. So not like a bribe, but an incentive, maybe, to give someone motivation to act. So to be ahead of one's time means in advance of current ideas. Cut someone's slack. Allow someone to do something not usually allowed. To make an exception for something they can do, or relieving a punishment. Normally, punishment is required for a certain action, but you can make it less if you cut someone some slack. To lay down the law. Make something clear in a stern way. Laying down the law and putting one's foot down, these two things are very similar. They're used in similar situations. The blind leading the blind. An unskilled person leading an equally unskilled person. So if somebody doesn't know what they're doing, but they're trying to be a leader, it doesn't usually work. And to light a fire under someone is to make someone do something. Interesting. So, the last part is a little bit of a long reading. We're going to put these phrases into some sentences. My father was very strict while I was growing up, and he really, in terms of what he expected from me in both school and extracurricular activities. If I ever received less than a B grade on an exam, my father did this and pressured me to study harder. Even though I was a member of the Honor Society football team and chess club, he never... He said, we have a lot of blinds. Yeah, we do. A lot of blind people trying to bleed other blind people. As I grew up, though, I slowly looked up to my father because he was persistent and patient. Now that I have children of my own, I am able to understand why my father was so hard on me. Sometimes my wife and I feel inexperienced as parents. And although it feels like something at times, I'm confident that we'll figure out the best way to our children and motivate them to be the best they can be. We have a lot to learn, though, and we're definitely not when it comes to parenting. Hopefully I'll take after my father and resemble him as a strong role model. So we only have 2 minutes, only 1 minute right now. So I'm just going to put these in here. If you were able to guess some of them, that's really good. Cool. It's just we just have 1 minute. So I'll put this down. So he really laid down the law in terms of what he expected from me. So this is what his father did in the past. So if he received low grades on his exams, his father put his foot down and gave him more pressure. Wow. He never cut me any slack. So he never relieved, he never lowered the level of discipline and the level of strength, the level of severity. He always maintained very strong desires. So a strong-willed father. So sometimes my wife and I feel inexperienced as parents, and although it feels like the blind leading the blind, at times I'm confident that we'll figure out the best way to light a fire under our children. Okay, so to motivate them. So they're saying that they're not ahead of their time, meaning they're not advanced so much as far as parenting. So hopefully the definitions of all these words was clear to you. I'll leave it up for just a minute. So you can take a picture if you want of this, of the way that these phrases are used in sentences. or you can write down these phrases as well. But that is the end of our stream. Thank you very much, Tiziano, for participating in the chat. It actually really helped me a lot to have someone to have some input, someone else to kind of talk to, have an exchange with. I've done. Thank you so much. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Have a great evening, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.